Hello, everyone. Welcome to Kenganda. This is a StreamYard interview. My name is Jonita Maya. And on today's episode, I am joined by a man who goes by the name Action. Action, tell the people who you are.
Hello, I'm a Black American living in Coachella, California. Good to be with you.
Okay, you're welcome to the episode. So, today's topic is the excessive delay in issuance of interview letters for immediate relatives of US citizens at the US Embassy in Nairobi, Kenya. But could you give the people a background about you and how you came to join this movement?
My wife is Ugandan, and so I ended up going through this process because I'm married to a Ugandan, and I want my wife to be living in the United States with me. So we started the process compared to many a short time ago, but it's been 14 months that my wife and I have been living apart.
And that's very unfortunate. I want to tell the people about there's a WhatsApp group for people who are waiting for their visas to be approved. So I think they get together, encourage each other, and then give out information where need be so that everyone is on the right track to getting the visa. The main issue, we've had people reach out, you reached out to us, and then we've had other people also reach out to us. And the main issue was the embassy in Nairobi itself. So what we're going to do is let's compare the two embassies. So first, let's talk about the embassy in Nairobi and the issue with the embassy in Nairobi, the US embassy in Nairobi.
Okay, so the issue with the embassy in Nairobi is not the staff and it's not the workers. It is the policies. It is the way that they have chosen to deal with spouses of United States citizens and residents. Campaign promises were made by Joe Biden. Joe Biden has given entry to people right down the street from here because I'm right near the border. He's given them entry to the country. They've barely been checked. But our spouses have been gone through two different background checks to get to where we are. But they can't come to the country. It's very strange. And also people on the other side of the border here have been offered tourist visas, and there's been programs set up to where their relatives, their spouses can possibly come to the States and wait for this process to play out. But our spouses who are in the same situation have to wait 3, 4, 5 years, sometimes more, to even get close to their partner. So it's just strange. It's very strange.
The embassy, the US embassy in Uganda, would you say there's there's a delay of the interview dates?
So in Uganda, they do not process immigrant visas. They only process non-immigrant visas, and I'm not aware of what the delays or the timing of that embassy. What I do know is that early on, when I first came to Uganda, I didn't know much about the immigration process or anything like that. I'm just a typical Black American, just living my life. I had never dealt with this stuff, but something was very strange to me about the process of how they give out tourist visas, and I'm really not surprised that people in East Africa are starting to get fed up with that stuff, and that they want the ambassador out of there because of it.
And speaking of the tourist visas, the lady, shout out to her, she's called Monica, the lady who reached out to us, said she says they're denying visas without refunding the visas. If that makes sense, could you tell the people, just help us dissect that?
Essentially, she has a problem with the same thing that troubled me when I first came to Kampala and was learning about this process while spending time with my wife. One would think that if you care about a people or you care about the plight of a people, that if you were selling dreams to them, you would, give them some sort of barometer or scale as to what they need to meet in order to receive one of these tourist visas. And I'm sure that there's many more people that are going through that process than the spouse visas. but they don't give these people a barometer. They may throw some things out there, but they're not really clear with the people. And I think they get conned into applying for these tourist visas, and they get denied, and it's at very high numbers. It's crazy.
And that's honestly that's very unfortunate. That
It
the people
is
are going through this. Um, Speaking of the delayed visas so she mentioned that Nairobi still has a backlog from 2022, whereas other countries are already working on that 2024 requests.
correct.
Like, is there a reason for that? Because when I saw her email, I was just like, what? This can be true.
Number one is this: you have to fight and you have to beg for any level of clarity from. Um, I don't know about other embassies, but this embassy doesn't like giving out information. I was able to find out through official means that they were still working on people that had applied before October 2022, and that was in March when I got that letter from an official channel through Congress. However, the only way that we have clarity is in these groups, because people will join these groups and they will share what they call their documentarily qualified date, or DQ date. So when we see people that are in that group that are from August 2022, September 2022, you know, when they get their interview letters, then we know where the embassy is. But if we don't have our friends to share that with us in the groups, or if we don't have the knowledge to reach out to Congress and ask them to inquire, then we would just be in the dark.
And that's unfortunate, really, because apparently some people have been waiting for years to get an interview. Someone waiting for 2 years. That's like a whole
Babies have been waiting for years. Children, babies are growing up.
children.
Yes, babies are growing up on a video camera, on a phone screen.
Can you
It's crazy.
imagine?
But
It's crazy.
like I said, this administration, the Biden administration, has offered people right down here, just south of the border here, they've offered people tourist visas to come be with their families. But the people in East Africa, we get nothing. We get told if we apply for a tourist visa, we'll get denied most likely, because we have an open spouse visa. But the same visa has been offered to people right over the border. I mean, no
Yeah.
one understands it. No one understands it. No one gets it.
No one gets it until you're going through it. That I do understand. You speak of the Biden administration, and she also kind of hinted on that, because apparently there was some sort of, should I call it, a promise made to the people that all the backlogs will be cleared, or families will be given priority over the tourists in terms of maybe being with their family and whatnot. Can you tell us more about that?
When Joe Biden ran for president, he knew that there was already a backlog left over from COVID-19. And that was valid at that point in time. And so he made it a promise. Sorry about the bugs. He made it a promise to the American people and to citizens and residents that he would prioritize spouse visas and he would clear up the backlog. And it's growing as of last month. I think that one of the lawyers that I follow said it grew 6% last month. And so I believe there's still over 400,000 people in that backlog. And he's nearly, ending his term. And another thing that's troubling is the ambassador was interviewed not that long ago, and he appointed her, so I would think that she would be carrying out those campaign promises that he made to us. She was asked this question on a town hall of some sort in Nairobi, and she told us, U.S. citizens and residents, to hang in there that have been waiting for years. And then questions were posed asking her if she could possibly let us know when things are going to change, right? When things are going to really pick up for spouses. And all she said was that, oh, later in the year, or later in the year, later at the end of the year, we should see something. Well, if Joe Biden doesn't win the election, she's appointed by Joe Biden. So it's almost like, is this kicking the can down the road? And now we have all these other things going on in Nairobi, and bless the people in Nairobi. I think they're doing a great thing. The people all over Kenya are doing a great thing for themselves. But now that that's going on, what does that mean for her? They don't even want her there. It's clear. It's all over the internet. The Kenyans don't want her there. So I mean, what does that mean for us if she's the one running the policy? If she's the one that's in charge of all those campaign promises that aren't being kept?
I pray she watches this interview and then she gives, she does what needs to be done so that people can be reunited with their family members and whatnot. Now, let's talk about the impact of the backlogs, like the delay in the delay in the visas. Like we've just talked about a child growing up with looking at the father through the screen or something, looking at the parent through the screen. Kids are growing up without the parents. Could you shed a light on some of the impacts that people are going through because of this problem?
The number one is, the emotional, the mental. That's probably the worst, is the mental health effects. And then, we can't forget about the financial, right? I mean, especially if you are responsible for your family, and you're, and you're a provider, then that can start to become a hefty expense living apart in different countries. Or moving there. Some people, they have to uproot their lives because they don't want this to, destroy their marriage. I mean, marriages have been destroyed. I've heard people talk about divorces. I've heard people talk about, just unfortunate situations that occur. People die, people get sick, people go through family members that may die and a spouse is there. People have talked about, well, my dad died and I tried to get, the visa, the tourist visa, so my wife could come, and be with me in the at the ceremony for my father, and they denied it because we have an open spouse case, right? But they offer tourist visas to people right over the border here. So, it's never ending. But I'd say that the number one and the number two are the mental and the financial, and obviously they're incredible things to have to deal with.
It's really unfortunate and it's really bad that people are going through this. I think most times when you're trying to apply for a US visa, people are thinking you just want to maybe relocate and you want to go to the States and stay there illegally. We have people who think like that.
I mean, yeah, I think, there's always those individuals. As I said, I live near the border. And so, I come into contact with individuals that make that decision every day. But what I can tell you is that most of them don't look like me.
We'll leave that at that. So I know that people who are going to watch this video or this episode and say, "Oh, so why are you even applying for the visas? Why can't the US spouses maybe relocate to Africa, or why can't they settle down in Africa?"
I think that comes down to personal choice. That would be an option for me, but I have commitments here, business, career, my family's here. Same thing with my wife. She has family there, and so sometimes it's a compromise. For us, even when she comes, we'll be going back and forth a lot, but we have the ability to do that. Everyone doesn't. But I think it just, it comes down to personal choice. I think that, there are people that I have met where the husband or the wife did move to East Africa to be with their spouse and their kids in order to keep their family together. But there's people that take all different kinds of routes.
That's true. I believe people can, decide to do what's best for the couple, the family, or whatever it is. I think at the end of the day, people just want to, be with their loved ones, and there's nothing wrong with that. And now,
Absolutely.
yeah, you mentioned something that I didn't know was active. When you have a spousal visa open and you try to apply for a tourist visa, they deny you a tourist visa because you have the spousal visa open. True?
Correct.
Can,
Correct.
can you imagine?
I've combed the internet on information on this because obviously I love my wife. I want to be with my wife, so I'm looking for any opportunities. But so they don't tell you specifically. Sorry, there's mosquitoes everywhere. They don't tell you specifically that you cannot get it in the language, but most people that apply for them do get denied, and the recommendation of most skilled immigration lawyers, they tell you not to do it because the language is so loose, and the common narrative is that people just get denied it because um, the United States the United States has a concern that you will use that tourist visa to come into the United States, and then just what they call an adjustment of status. You will go through that process and just stay in the country, remain in the country, and basically um, leapfrog the interview process in the country that or embassy that you were supposed to be getting interviewed at.
I had no idea. Well, thank
Mm.
you for teaching us this, because I'm sure the people watching this and they also have like they've gotten Ugandan wives or Kenyan wives, East African wives, and they may be going through this and you don't know what they're going through. So I wanted to ask, is there some sort of support that you're getting from the government?
I won't lie. My local congressman and local liaison have fought really hard for my wife and I. That is Congressman Ken Calvert. I will promote that because they were able to get the first stage of our spouse visa expedited within 5 months of us starting the process, which is the only reason why I am at the at the point where I am, because they were able to do that. And they even tried to have this next step expedited for me, but for some reason, the proof that I had to get expedited in the first stage of the process, the I-130 stage, it met the criteria for that, but it doesn't meet the criteria for the embassies. But pretty much the embassies are telling us that the only way you'd be able to expedite, and I'm not going to say that they always stick to this, but they basically have told people that it has to be a life or death situation. So we've heard of people having cancer and getting turned down to be with their spouses. We heard of people being pregnant and being turned down to be with their spouses. We've heard of people really ill, with other issues that have been turned down to be with their spouses. But again, right over the border here, they offered people that are in the same situation. They made programs to create a pathway for them to come and wait with their spouses under the same circumstance.
Oh, thank you for that. And for the people watching, how can they support this cause?
This is collective knowledge. I want to make sure that I say that because, while I did do a lot of studies and a lot of investigation on my own, there's been a lot of people in the group that have shared information with me and that have taught me, even through frustration. I honestly believe, and I think that the group would agree with me, that this calls for executive action. If this president wants to be president again, he should keep his promises, right? And so, he can make an executive action to allow the spouses of U.S. citizens that are here that came in the country illegally. He can offer them a pathway when they haven't even been screened or anything like that and have been in the country for years. But he can't offer the people of wherever they are in the world going through this process. I'm specifically talking about East Africa today, but anyone going through this process. Why can't our current president, do an executive order like he did for the people, right? Or like he can do for the people, or did for the people right over the border. Why can't he do an executive action that allows all of the people that are waiting for interviews to come into the country and wait with their spouses? Another thing, they recently started making changes to the Foreign Affairs Manual. Well, one of the things in the Foreign Affairs Manual is how they deal with consular affairs and affairs at embassies as it applies to visa denials or or issuance. Well, recently on May 8th, they made a change to the policy stating that if you could find a way to another country where there's an embassy and you could prove that you're there and you can stay there, you would be able to transfer your case to an embassy that's moving slower. Well, people have tried that, and they act like they don't even know what you're talking about. They act confused. So maybe in the background something's happening with that, but they're not following it. As of now, you have to go through a lot to transfer your case. You either have to have residency in another country or attain residency in another country, and it's expensive, it's costly, it's traveling, it's visas, it's headaches. But I know that's long-winded. However, I would say if people can help, the best thing that they could do is call for an executive action. Period. Like, this has gone on too long. These people have already been screened. Anyone waiting for an interview should be given a tourist visa and allowed to come in the country and wait with their spouse. Anything less than that is just totally uncivilized and ridiculous.
Thank you. I hope that they see this episode and hear your suggestions. I think they're actually valid. I mean, it should actually be better if the spouse got like a tourist visa and then decided to wait in the US, or like the ability to visit the partner in their home country would also be nice.
One more hot button point.
Please.
Be a person going through this process, waiting for this process to go through, and then you look at the rate of visas issued from a post, right? And you see few of the spouse visas done, and you see hundreds of the tourist visas being done. And so, there's your campaign promise. Your campaign promise is that you get to look at the tourist visas in the hundreds and the spouse visas in low issuance numbers. On top of that, you find out that most of these tourist visas are denied, right? Most of them are denied. And so then you look at the fact that now they don't really want to release the numbers of tourist visas being issued and denied now. You could look online and it's just not there. They just don't share it. Maybe we're all fools. Maybe we're all stupid. Maybe we're all ignorant. I let everybody think for themselves. But all of that is strange. All of that is strange.
That's definitely strange, but we're not all fools. And I hope the ones watching do something about it. Do you want to give out your social media handles where people can reach you?
No, this isn't about me. This is about the group. Okay. This isn't about me. Yeah, this is about the group. I'm just a person who wants to be with his wife.
About the group, if someone watches this and they're going through the same situation and would like to join said group, is the group okay with sharing that link in our description?
Yeah, they'd be willing to share it. Yes, and there's the administrators of the group were kind enough to add the different types of visas in the group that we're in, so that people can get the specific information that they need for their situation. Because some people are bringing their parents over, some people are bringing kids. Everyone has a different situation. Some people are residents, some people are citizens that are bringing their relatives over. But like I said, loud and clear, anything less than an executive order at this point is just it's financial it's financial suicide too. It's it is election suicide for me. It's a hot button point for me. I don't like being promised something and then being told it's in progress until you're out the door or possibly out the door. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you for that. So we'll share the link for anyone who's watching. If you'd like to join the WhatsApp group, the link will be there, or you can just reach out for the link directly on email at kengandanation.com and we'll avail it. But let us stick to the description box where we'll have the link to the WhatsApp group. Action, thank you so much.
Absolutely. We're talking about this and hopefully educating some people so that we can get some serious help and some serious care since we're not getting it from our country.
We've come to the end of this episode. If you enjoyed this episode, please be free to reach out to our social media platforms at Kenganda Nation. You can also follow me at Juanita Maya on my YouTube too. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.